Welcome into another episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I am Will Thomas, coming to you from a very, very rainy Mobile, Alabama. The Senior Bowl is officially starting to kick off tomorrow with some press conferences and then practices the rest of the week. I'll be bringing you guys all of the coverage I can from that. So follow me on Twitter and I'll be posting videos here as well. But today we're going to continue our transfer portal recap series and we're going alphabetically. We did Alabama. Now we are doing Arkansas. Now, obviously, Arkansas had a coaching change. They went from Sam Pittman to Ryan Silverfield from Memphis. And with a coaching change, obviously comes a lot of roster turnover. Arkansas had 22 guys transfer out, 4 of which were a little more significant than others, starting off with Tavion Wallace at linebacker. He was an elite player. He is heading out. He is now at Kentucky. Justice Boone coming off the edge. He originally began his career at Florida. Then he was at Arkansas. Now he's on the move. They lost Trevor Jackson at quarterback, who was kind of long thought to be that, successor to Taylor Green, but without Pittman, Jackson now leaves. And also Jaheim Singletary at corner. He was a former 5-star guy. He started his career at Georgia, then he was at Arkansas, and now he is going somewhere else. But just some other guys who transferred out of Arkansas. Keyshawn Blackstock at offensive tackle, Ian Jeffrard on the defensive line. You had Grayson Wilson, another quarterback, who transferred out. Jacaden Ferguson at receiver, Cam Shanks at receiver, some more corners like Akari Johnson and Nigel Pringle. And then on the defensive line, Kavion Henderson and Kevin Otis, just some other guys who transferred out. But I do like what Silverfield did bringing guys in. I think he did a really good job. Starting off with Kamori House, he was a linebacker from North Carolina. He was very productive, and he's got, he just looks like a great linebacker. He has that profile, that athletic build of an SEC linebacker. So Kamori House, I do think is very good to help fill in for Tavion Wallace. Shelton Lewis from Clemson, he is a DB. He's hoping to come, plug in some of those holes they lost in the secondary. Lewis had a great career at Clemson. He was kind of behind Nate Wiggins, some of those other elite DBs who did come out of Clemson, so he knows what great DB play looks like, and he has had his moments with the Tigers. They got Jelani Watkins coming in from LSU at receiver. That was an incredibly crowded LSU receiver room last year. It's going to be even more crowded this year, so Watkins found his way out, and he should be a pretty featured target in this Arkansas offense. Jamonte Waller at linebacker. They brought him in from Auburn. Jamonte was a blue chip recruit. He was 4-star, 5-star on some sites as a high schooler. He started his career at Auburn. Now he's coming to Arkansas. Waller is a really high ceiling guy. He hasn't really panned out yet, but I do think that Waller is a great pickup for Silverfield. And Ryan Silverfield also brought over his quarterback of the future from Memphis in Antwann Hill. Hill was incredibly highly rated as a recruit. He's kind of like Taylor Green again. Like, he's got this alien-like build. He has just like non-human traits. Antwann Hill, I think, could be a superstar. Will he be immediately? Probably not. These guys rarely are. But Antwann Hill, I think, is going to be an incredibly good football player, a great quarterback for Arkansas. Some other guys that they brought in Steven Stolz from Kentucky. Jasper Parker at running back is coming in from Michigan. They brought in Davion Witherspoon, an Ohio offensive lineman. Malachi Breland, another Memphis player. He's an offensive tackle. They brought in Jamari Hawkins from Memphis, who is a receiver. He brought over 7 players from Memphis. And that's to be expected, right? Look at Auburn, which we'll get to in the next video, which is going to be exhausting to prep for because of how much portal turnover they had. But you saw a lot of USF guys come over with Alex Golesh, and you're seeing the same thing happen with Silverfield from Memphis to Arkansas. You never really know how that's going to play out because obviously these group of 5 teams, Memphis beat Arkansas last year, right? And USF, they beat Florida last year. But you do wonder, can rosters made up of a lot of those group of 5 guys really compete in the SEC week in and week out? We'll see. But, he also brought in Matt Adcock and Josiah Clemens, other Memphis guys, Ian Williams as well. Phoenix Jackson, he brought in from Baylor at linebacker. Sutton Smith, a Memphis running back. And then Carlin Jones on the defensive line. Silverfield brought in from USC. My biggest takeaway from this, looking at Arkansas's portal class, is that they really, you have some veteran guys, like Shelton Lewis bringing him in, veteran presence at corner. But you have a lot of younger, exciting underclassmen guys that you're bringing in, which in my mind takes pressure off of this season for Silverfield, which I didn't think there really was much anyways. You're coming into Arkansas from where Pittman left it. They're not really expecting you to go out there and win 8 games in year 1. But I think that with the pieces that Silverfield is bringing in, you're going to see them at least compete, if not win, a few more games, maybe some that they shouldn't next year. And then you can really start to build around that young talent that you have. Building around Antwann Hill is going to be incredibly important. So we'll retaining him, and we'll see how they do with that. But Arkansas's haul overall, I think, is pretty solid. And even if it's not, it doesn't stack up with some of the other great hauls in the country, even just in the SEC, but you kind of have to temper your expectations there because it's Arkansas, right? You have to know where you're at. You have to know what you can really expect in year one, and it should be pretty good. It should be pretty good. So Arkansas, I do think, has a good future with Silverfield. Will they ever compete in elite level? We'll see. If he keeps bringing in transfer portal hauls that are like this one, they could compete there sooner rather than later. So if you did enjoy this little Arkansas summary, I will be doing one for each SEC school. So subscribe to me here to see your favorite school's transfer portal recap. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I'm Will Thomas, and I will see you next time.